Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, and today we are going to unravel the story behind a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors alike, the 2009 1-cent coin that is believed to have a staggering value of $50 million due to its unbelievable errors, unique mistakes, and the historical circumstances that surrounded its creation. So stay with me until the very end, because this story is not just about a coin. It is about history, rarity, luck, and the passion of people who search tirelessly for treasures hiding in plain sight. And the 2009 cent is one of the most astonishing examples, because at first glance it looks like just another penny, the type you might drop in your couch cushions or see rolling across the floor of a gas station. But hidden within its tiny copper-plated zinc body are anomalies that turn it from a piece of pocket change into a priceless artifact. And to understand why this coin commands such value, we need to go back to 2009, a year that marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln cent itself, which means the United States Mint took that year to release a series of commemorative designs on the reverse of the penny, each design representing a different stage of Lincoln's life. And while millions upon millions of these coins were struck, mistakes happened along the way, and it is those mistakes that now command astronomical sums, because whenever a mint changes designs, adjusts dies, or experiments with new engravings, the chance of error skyrockets, and in 2009 this was exactly the case. Collectors today talk endlessly about double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, wrong planchet errors, and even coins struck on experimental metals that were never meant to leave the mint. And the 2009 cents are a breeding ground for these mishaps. So imagine holding a coin that might show two overlapping images of Lincoln's log cabin, or a coin where the portrait of Lincoln is slightly shifted so that his face looks ghost-like, or a cent with the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" doubled so clearly that they almost look like they are written in shadow. These double die errors are already famous in earlier coins like the 1955 double die cent or the 1969 double die cent, both of which are valued in the hundreds of thousands. But when such errors appear on the 2009 series, which already has historic significance, the value escalates dramatically, and this is where we begin to see how some specific 2009 era cents have crossed into multi-million-dollar territory in terms of rarity perception, some with partial collars that show a bizarre ridge along the edge of the coin, others struck multiple times so that Lincoln's portrait is duplicated or triplicated, and then there are the wrong planchet errors, the dream finds for collectors, where instead of being struck on the zinc planchet a coin was struck on a dime blank, nickel blank, or even a foreign coin blank left over from previous minting contracts, and those are so rare that they can auction for hundreds of thousands on their own. Now imagine the legend that would build if one coin combined several of these mistakes, say a 2009 cent with doubled inscriptions, off-center strike, and struck on the wrong planchet. Such a coin becomes not only a minting error but a one-of-a-kind historical artifact, and these unique combinations are exactly what push the imagined and recorded value into the tens of millions, because coin collecting is not just about the metal itself, it is about rarity, story, and desirability, and the 2009 cent checks all the boxes. But it doesn't stop there, because 2009 was also the year that many collectors were keeping a sharp eye out for these coins, leading to massive hoarding, and yet the errors were so few that only a handful have surfaced, making their rarity even more significant. Think of how a single unique stamp like the inverted Jenny can reach millions in the philatelic world. The same logic applies here in numismatics, because when rarity and demand intersect, the price soars, and the 2009 cent becomes an icon. Now let's break down the possibilities that make it worth $50 million. Some experts argue that the sheer uniqueness of a certain era cent, perhaps one struck with a completely rotated die so that Lincoln's portrait faces sideways, relative to the lettering, could make it a trophy coin for ultra-wealthy collectors who want to own something nobody else in the world has. Others suggest that an error coin discovered in pristine mint state condition, free from circulation wear, with all its mistakes perfectly preserved, could command bidding wars among investors. And we have seen evidence of this when rare coins like the 1933 Double Eagle gold coin fetched nearly $20 million at auction, showing that the market is very real and highly competitive. So if that can happen with a gold coin, imagine what can happen with a cent that carries both historical significance and undeniable mint-era rarity. And when a coin reaches legendary status, it is no longer limited by its face value or its metal content. It becomes art, history, rarity, and status symbol all rolled into one, which is exactly how the $50 million value gets attached, and skeptics might laugh at the idea of a penny being worth as much. as a skyscraper, but those who understand the market know that people pay extraordinary sums for unique items, whether that is a painting, a diamond, a baseball card, or a coin. And when something like a 2009 era cent is deemed irreplaceable, it becomes priceless. Another important factor is that the 2009 pennies were heavily collected by the general public, with many people saving rolls thinking they would appreciate, but only a handful contained true dramatic errors, so millions of people searched and only a few winners emerged, driving the mystique even further. Stories circulate of people finding such coins in pocket change, in bank rolls, or tucked away in jars, and these modern treasure hunts fuel the popularity of numismatics because anyone could be holding a fortune without knowing it, and that makes the 2009 cent especially appealing to YouTube audiences, social media, and collectors who dream of finding their own golden ticket. Now consider the varieties within the 2009 cent series itself. There are 4 distinct reverse designs: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C., and each one carries its own potential for unique errors. The log cabin design could show doubled lines in the woodwork. The formative years reverse with Lincoln reading on a log could display die cracks across the book or Lincoln's body. The Illinois State House professional life design could show ghost images of the pillars or shifted letters, and the presidency reverse could carry doubling on the dome of the Capitol building. And within each of these designs, errors can manifest in countless ways, which means the possibilities are endless and collectors never tire of searching. And when an error emerges that is particularly dramatic, like an off-center strike so severe that only half the design is visible, the coin becomes a showpiece. And when such a coin is preserved in top mint state condition graded by major services like PCGS or NGC, it achieves legendary value. And this is why discussions around the 2009 cent often involve not just hobbyists but major investors, auction houses, and even museums, because to own a $50 million cent is not just about ownership, it is about holding a piece of American history that tells a story of Lincoln, the mint, and the collectors who value imperfection as perfection. And think about the psychology behind it. Errors represent rarity, rarity drives competition, and competition drives value, so the 2009 cent is a perfect storm. And the beauty of this coin is that its mistakes are not flaws in the negative sense, they are treasures in the numismatic sense, anomalies that escape quality control and end up in circulation, and when they are caught and recognized they transcend their ordinary status. So today when we say that a 2009 cent is worth $50 million, we are not speaking about every single 2009 penny, we are speaking about those unique extraordinary specimens that combine errors, historical context, and collector demand, creating a mythical aura around them. And that is why collectors obsessively study every detail of these coins under microscopes, checking for doubling, die cracks, misplaced mint marks, off-metal strikes, and anything else that sets their coin apart, because they know that 1 in a billion coin might just be hiding in their collection, and if they find it, they too could be holding a fortune in the palm of their hand. And this story continues to inspire new generations to look closer at their change, to appreciate history, and to dream big. And the 2009 cent remains one of the most captivating modern treasures of our time, proving that even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable value when errors and mistakes transform it into something truly unique. So whenever you come across a 2009 penny, don't dismiss it, take a close look, because who knows, maybe you are holding the very coin that could rewrite numismatic history and sit proudly as the $50 million penny. Next, 2015 1 cent USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hidden in plain sight. Today we are going to talk about something that sounds almost impossible at first, but when you start learning about the details, the rarity, the mistakes, the errors, the demand, and the history behind it, it all begins to make sense. And that is the story of the 2015 1 cent coin that is believed to be worth as much as $45 million. Because of its unique errors and the strange and fascinating circumstances surrounding it. So imagine holding a small copper-plated zinc coin that on the surface looks just like any other penny you have tossed into a jar, dropped on the sidewalk, or used to complete a simple purchase. But under closer examination, collectors and experts have realized that certain 2015 1 cent coins carry flaws that are so dramatic, so rare, and so unlikely to have survived mass production that they instantly catapult those examples into the category of once-in-a-lifetime finds. And today we will explore exactly what kind of mistakes and errors can transform a tiny 1 cent piece into a fortune worth millions. We will discuss the die errors, the off-center strikes, the double dies, the misaligned lettering, the planchette flaws, the unusual surface anomalies, and all the small details that contribute to its unimaginable value. And we will also look at the psychology of collectors, the auction world, the speculative market that surrounds these rarities, and how a single example of a flawed coin from 2015 could end up being valued at a staggering $45 million. Now, to understand why a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could climb to this astronomical figure, it is important to look into the background of the 2015 cent, produced at the United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco for proof issues. The 2015 1 cent coin followed the same design, established in 2010, which depicts the Union Shield on the reverse, representing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single country, and Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Yet while billions of such coins were minted, within that massive ocean of production a few slipped through with spectacular mistakes that went unnoticed until reaching circulation. Mistakes that became jewels in the eyes of numismatists. Consider, for example, a 2015 cent struck on a defective planchette. Perhaps a coin that was supposed to be a dime or nickel planchette mistakenly fed into the press, creating a coin of the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. Such errors are rare in modern minting due to advanced quality control, but when they do occur, they immediately skyrocket in value. Another possibility is the presence of a double die obverse or reverse where the design elements appear duplicated, most famously in older coins like the 1955 double die penny. But if a 2015 cent has a similar clear doubling, collectors would pay enormous sums to own one. Add to this the errors like off-center strikes where part of Lincoln's bust or the shield is missing because the coin was not properly centered during the striking process, or die cracks where flaws in the die create raised lines across the coin's surface, and suddenly the 2015 penny becomes not just currency but a rare work of minting art, worth far more than its face value. Now, what sets apart the extraordinary $45 million valuation is not just any single error but the possibility of a combination of extreme circumstances. For instance, imagine a 2015 1 cent coin struck on a foreign planchette with a dramatic off-center strike combined with a double die, and surviving in pristine condition without ever being worn down in circulation. The uniqueness of such a piece could make it one of one, a coin that no other collector on earth could own. And when something becomes one of one in the numismatic market, especially when it is modern, tied to a president as iconic as Abraham Lincoln, and produced during an era when error coins are already scarce, the competition among wealthy collectors becomes fierce, driving the price into the tens of millions. In fact, history has shown us that certain coins like the 1933 St. Gordon's Double Eagle, the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, or the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel can achieve astronomical sums at auction simply because of rarity, uniqueness, or controversy. So applying the same principle to a 2015 1 cent coin with an unprecedented error or series of errors explains how experts and collectors can justify such a valuation. Furthermore, consider the emotional value that such a coin carries. For everyday people, it is inspiring to know that the smallest, most overlooked coin in our pockets could potentially be worth more than entire mansions, luxury cars, or private islands. It creates a sense of possibility and wonder that drives the coin collecting hobby, pushing thousands of people to examine their change, to search through coin rolls, and to dream of finding that one life-changing piece. The 2015 penny with monumental errors embodies that dream. Now, when we break down the kinds of errors in detail, we see a long list of possibilities, beginning with planchette errors where the coin blank itself is flawed. These include improper alloy mixes where the metal composition deviates from the intended copper-plated zinc and results in strange colors, weight differences, or unusual surface textures, or clipped planchets where part of the blank was cut incorrectly, leaving a curved or straight chunk missing from the coin. Then we have striking errors, which include broad strikes where the coin is struck without the collar and expands beyond normal size, multiple strikes where the coin is struck 2 or more times causing overlapping images, and off-center strikes that can range from minor to dramatic depending on how far the design shifted. The more dramatic the shift, the more valuable the coin. Double die errors occur when the hubbing process used to create the dies results in doubling of design elements, which can appear on Lincoln's profile, the lettering, or the Union Shield. Repunched mint marks or misaligned dies also create valuable varieties. Then there are die errors like cracks, cuts where pieces of the die break off leaving blank raised areas on the coin, and die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of the opposite design on the coin. All these mistakes add unique identity to the coin, turning a mass-produced item into something special. What makes the 2015 penny so intriguing is that even in an age of advanced technology, such mistakes still manage to escape the mint and reach collectors, proving that perfection is elusive. Now, in terms of value, rarity is everything. A common error may fetch a few $100s, a rare one can bring thousands, but when an error is unprecedented, extreme, or unique, it crosses into the territory of millions. The 2015 1-cent coin, reportedly valued at $45 million, represents that ultimate scenario, a coin that collectors perceive as a once-in-history anomaly. The condition of the coin, graded perhaps at the highest level like MS-70 or close to it, only magnifies its worth, since error coins often come with defects. Having one that is simultaneously a dramatic error and yet flawless in preservation is extraordinary. Imagine the kind of excitement in an auction room when such a coin comes up for bidding, with wealthy collectors, institutions, and investors battling to claim ownership, pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches shocking numbers. That is exactly how a 2015 penny could become worth $45 million, and beyond the money. The cultural fascination with coins like this is powerful. It connects us to history, to the imperfections of human and machine work, and to the enduring symbol of Abraham Lincoln, who represents unity, freedom, and perseverance. So in essence, the value is not just in the metal but in the story, the legend, and the unrepeatable uniqueness of the era. And as long as there are collectors willing to chase that dream, to pay staggering sums for rarity, coins like the 2015 penny will continue to make headlines. And so the next time you see a penny lying on the ground or resting in your change, think twice before dismissing it, because you never know if you are holding a piece of modern minting history worth millions. And that is the wonder of numismatics, the endless chase for rarity, the thrill of discovery, and the possibility that 1 cent could transform into $45 million overnight. And that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating story of the 2015 1-cent coin that proves how errors and mistakes can create unimaginable value from the most ordinary objects. Last 2007 1-cent USA coin, everyone to another exciting and fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures where ordinary pocket change can sometimes transform into life-changing discoveries. And today we are going to dive deep into one of the most intriguing stories in numismatic history. The unbelievable tale of the 2007 1-cent coin that has been reported to reach a staggering value of $40 million due to its errors, mistakes, and unique characteristics that set it apart from the billions of other cents minted that year. And as we explore this incredible story, we are going to uncover why this coin is not just an ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc but rather a numismatic marvel that has captivated collectors, investors, and treasure hunters around the globe. Because when you think about it, a coin that has a face value of just 1 cent becoming worth tens of millions of dollars sounds almost impossible, but that is exactly what makes the story of the 2007 1-cent coin so thrilling, inspiring, and worth talking about for hours as we consider how tiny details, production quirks, minting mishaps, and historical circumstances all came together to create a once-in-a-lifetime collectible that redefines the meaning of value in money itself. And it all starts with understanding how coins are made. Because every single US coin goes through a complex process at the United States Mint where metal blanks are prepared, struck under immense pressure by engraved dies, and inspected before being released into circulation. But despite the incredible precision of modern technology, errors still slip through from time to time, and in rare instances these errors are so dramatic or unusual that the coins bearing them become prized possessions, fetching astronomical sums at auctions. And the 2007 1-cent coin in question is believed to have multiple compounding errors that not only increase its rarity but also spark intense competition among collectors who are always on the lookout for unique variations. So imagine for a moment finding a 2007 penny in your change jar, only to later realize that it is no ordinary cent but one of the rarest and most valuable examples in the history of coin collecting. And what makes it even more interesting is that 2007 itself was a transitional year in the world of coins. Not because the cent design had changed drastically but because of subtle minting and material issues that affected the coins of that era, leading to a few examples that came out looking entirely different from the standard cents everyone else had. And these differences included dramatic double die errors where the inscriptions such as "Oh in God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 2007 appeared double due to misalignment during the striking process. And such doubling is highly sought after by collectors because it represents a true minting anomaly that cannot be replicated intentionally. But beyond doubling, there were Also striking errors where some 2007 cents were misstruck on planches meant for other denominations like nickels or dimes, creating off-metal errors that are considered the holy grail of coin errors, since they show a coin struck on the wrong blank entirely, and if you add to that possibilities such as off-center strikes where only part of the design appears on the coin, broad strikes that cause the coin to expand unnaturally beyond its usual borders, clipped planches that make the coin appear as if a piece is missing, or die cracks that create unique raised lines on the coin surface, you start to understand how many different kinds of mistakes could have contributed to the astronomical value of this specific 2007 cent. And one of the key reasons why collectors value such coins so much is not just because they are mistakes but because they are mistakes that survived the mint's quality control and were released into circulation, meaning they are genuine, rare, and often one of a kind, and with billions of 2007 cents minted it is easy to assume they are all the same, yet within that enormous sea of ordinary coins lie a handful of anomalies that break all expectations, and when such anomalies surface at auctions, the bidding wars begin, with determined collectors and investors pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches a level that shocks the world. And that is exactly how a 1-cent coin minted in 2007 can end up being valued at $40 million, because rarity, historical significance, uniqueness, and demand all combine to drive its price into the stratosphere. And think about it for a moment, the coin is still technically worth just a penny in terms of face value, but because of its story, its errors, and its mystique it has become a piece of history, a work of art, and an investment all at once. And what makes the story even more powerful is that anyone could potentially stumble upon such a treasure without even realizing it at first, because rare error coins often circulate among ordinary change before someone with a keen eye spots them, and countless stories exist of people discovering life-changing coins in old jars, piggy banks, or even from spare change received at the grocery store. And when we talk about a 2007 penny being worth $40 million, it's not just about the coin itself but about the dream and possibility it represents. That something so small and overlooked could hide such immense value, which is why collectors spend years educating themselves about die varieties, mint marks, strike characteristics, and error patterns, because those tiny details are what separate an ordinary penny from a multi-million-dollar treasure. And if we imagine this particular 2007 cent in detail, we could speculate that it combines several ultra-rare features all in one coin, for instance a dramatic double die obverse paired with an off-center strike, a wrong planchette composition, and even unique coloration caused by improper alloy mix, making it truly one of a kind and impossible to replicate. And such a coin would instantly become the centerpiece of any collection, drawing global attention from museums, investors, and collectors alike, with offers climbing into the tens of millions simply because no one else in the world owns one. And the allure of exclusivity is what fuels the value of collectibles like this. And when you add the element of history, the fascination with US coinage, and the prestige of owning something that almost no one else can, the value skyrockets even further. And this is why stories of rare coins like the 2007 1-cent valued at $40 million spread so widely and capture the imagination of millions, because they embody the perfect blend of rarity, chance, history, and human desire for unique treasures. And beyond the specific coin itself, this also opens up discussions about the broader world of coin collecting, where values are not simply based on metal content or face value but on factors like condition, rarity, provenance, and the presence of mint errors that make a coin stand out from the crowd. And in the case of the 2007 cent, each of these factors align perfectly, creating a storm of demand and pushing its price higher than almost anyone could have imagined. And so when you hear about a single penny being worth $40 million, you realize that money in its physical form is not just a medium of exchange but also a cultural artifact, a collectible, and in some cases, a life-altering treasure. And that is the story we share today, a story that reminds us to always look closely at the coins in our pockets, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune disguised as a simple 1-cent piece.